Yo, so what did you guys think about that clip that you just saw? So I shot that all on the iPhone 12 Pro Max. I went to downtown Toronto. I walked around for about like 6 hours and that's what I got. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So I always wanted to do some sort of edit using just the iPhone time-lapse function and time-lapse / hyperlapse. I've used it before on my old iPhone back about like 4 or 5 years. I shot some couple stuff when I was in Montreal with my iPhone. I think it was like iPhone 6, 7, not even sure. Footage turned out really nice. I was surprised like how stable and smooth the shots were looking just right out of the phone, using no other apps, just from the camera app. But I never really got around to doing any sort of kind of edit with it. And now it's been like 4 or 5 years. Anyways, now that I got the iPhone 12 Pro Max, I wanted to finally, you know, put together some sort of edit using the time-lapse hyperlapse function. So the app I used is actually the iPhone app itself, the camera app. It was just the most simplest app to use. Once you take the footage, it's already in your Photos app and you're ready to export. There is the DJI Osmo app. I think it's called Mimo or something like that. And then there's the Moment app. I didn't really want to play around with the settings. I wanted to kind of show how simple it is. So you can use the other apps. You're able to go through the settings, ISO, aperture, exposure value, stuff like that, and really nail down your exposure. But I just use the iPhone app itself. So the main thing is you have to be pretty steady still. So even though the iPhone 12s have good stabilization in the video, and the iPhone 12 Pro Max has sensor shift optical stabilization. Sensor shift optical image stabilization. What that means is, yeah, inside the iPhone it's sort of like a gyroscope, kind of like the Sony cameras, where the mirror itself is sort of stabilizing internally. So I actually had both the iPhones and didn't really notice too much of a difference, but I mean, supposedly, yeah, it's a little bit more stable. It's pretty much the same. So you still have to be pretty steady. You really gotta crouch down, do that walk to, you know, kind of cancel all that motion in your hands and jitter. But I did use the DJI Osmo 4. I bought that because, you know, I thought I might be making a lot of iPhone videos, so why not buy the gimbal for it? So I did use the gimbal, the new Osmo 4. Osmo Action. No, this is the Osmo Mobile. So this is the Osmo Mobile 4. It's pretty cool. It's got that detachable camera adapter, so it makes it super easy. You can just slap this on your phone. You can have this on your phone the entire time. So what I did was just have the adapter thing and put it right on there. And when I was shooting, boom, put it on. When I'm done and I'm walking around, just put it in your pocket, but still have the adapter on. So that came in really handy. I didn't have to balance it each time like a regular gimbal. So yeah, big shout outs to DJI for making this little function here. Super easy. And even with the gimbal, you have to be pretty steady still. Make sure you put the grid function on your iPhone so you can lock in a building, say in one of the points or right in the middle. So the whole time you're walking with the gimbal, say it's the CN Tower, make sure the CN Tower is right in the middle of the grid and you're just following that through, and it's gonna turn out nice when you do that. And I did do one shot without the gimbal. I was just walking really slowly, doing the crouching walk, and it came out pretty smooth. I didn't use it in the footage because what I shot wasn't that nice, but the footage itself was pretty stable, so you can do it without a gimbal. And the lens I used on the iPhone, because it has 3 lenses, I just stuck with the ultra wide. But I guess moving towards the night shots, I could have switched to the wide because the wide does have a larger aperture. It's got a 1.6 aperture, so it can take in more light, whereas the ultra wide angle has a 2.4, so not as much light can get in, but it still turned out not too bad. I mean, if you zoom in, there is a bit of gray, so maybe I would have been better off using the wide when it was at nighttime, but it still turned out okay, I would say. So when you're trying to get a hyperlapse, you really want to make sure that there's a lot of movement, motion in the actual composition. The prime sky conditions would have been like a blue sky, bit of clouds moving, but I waited about 4 to 5 days and the sky was staying overcast the whole time. I'm like, let me just go to downtown and see what I can get with this boring sky condition. So I really had to make sure that there's a lot of movement, motion in the composition. So I made sure there was cars passing by, bike, people walking around, and then the subway, of course. But with the hyperlapses, even if there's nothing moving around, the shots can turn pretty cool because you're basically speeding up. So if you're tracking something and moving behind objects and stuff like that, it'll still turn out pretty nice because it's gonna be super smooth and you're gonna get that parallax between buildings and objects in the distance, so it'll turn out pretty good still. But for the best results, you really want to have a lot of motion. But now that I have the iPhone 12 Pro Max and the DJI Osmo 4, maybe I'll do some more iPhone videos, but I do have a lot of videos planned out and I'm really excited to get some more contents pumping out. I also got the Sony a7S III, so definitely some videos coming out for that also. But that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.